Hi, good evening. Today we are almost going to be covering the very last portion of PGMP exam prep course. We started chapter number 8, which is about the project or program activities in the previous lecture. And because it was a very extensive chapter, so we could not complete it in the previous session. And now, today we are moving on with it. But you see, what we tried covering was all the program activities divided into 3 program phases. The most important and most elaborate phase was the planning phase. So that we covered already. Now we are going to be talking about the program delivery phase and ultimately the close. So topic 8.2 is all about program delivery phase activities, all the activities from the program delivery phase. Hi Julian.
Hello. Sorry, I'm a little late. How's it
Okay,
going?
no problem. I just started and I just was introducing what we studied in the last lecture. I said in the previous lecture we started the program activities chapter 8, and we covered the planning part of it. Now we are moving on to the delivery and then close. So topic 8.2 is all about the program delivery activities. So all the activities which relate to the delivery phase, and naturally you understand the delivery phase is a very elaborate phase in the way that everything which happens in the program is actually happening here in delivery. And here various projects and components will be started and they will be finished and they will be controlled and reported and everything. So this will be done here. But having said that, still I maintain that program planning was the most elaborate area, because there we planned all the 10 different program component plans, which included change management and schedule and everything, and we very deliberately talked about them in the previous lecture. Anyways, program delivery phase activities include program activities required to coordinate and manage the actual delivery of the programs. That's exactly what I said. This includes activities around change control. We already created the change management plan. Now we are talking about controlling the change, reporting it, and information distribution, as well as activities around cost, procurement, quality, risk, and all the various domains we discussed already. All the 10 domains we discussed already. These provide supporting activities and processes that run throughout the program lifecycle. So these supporting activities, from the 10 different domains, these are called supporting activities, as we said earlier. Uh, Main program activities are the integrative activities from the integration area. But these supporting activities support the program management plan, support the integration of the program. So these provide supporting activities and processes that run throughout the program lifecycle and are aimed to provide the program monitoring and controlling function. So it is just like, every domain, every area provides its own supporting activities which contribute ultimately to the integration activities or the main program activities, and therefore you can compile all the control factors and monitoring and control of the whole program through these 10 domains. We'll be showing a diagram to you how program delivery activities support program and component management. Just have a look at it. I hope this is on the screen right now. Okay, yes, it is there. So you see,
Yes.
support program activities contain all the domains. I'm not really talking about the physical activities right now, because we have just listed down all the 10 domain names on the left side, left hand corner, but from the perspective of delivery. So here what we need to do, we need to do the program change monitoring and control. We need to do program communication management, program financial management, program information management. So plans were already created during planning and formulation. Now we are going to do those managements according to those plans. We have the program procurement management. We created the quality plan. Now we have the quality assurance and controlling going on here. Program resource management is happening here. Program risk monitoring and control is happening here. Schedule monitoring and control, and scope monitoring and control. So all the plans I created earlier in planning, now I am having the controls, monitors and controls of all of those 10 domains as supporting program activities here. So these supporting activities will interact with the core program activities, which are program integration management. For that, they will seek guidance, program guidance from the program governance, which already has been established. Probably it was chapter number 6 about the program governance. So program guidance is being sought out of the program governance, and all the reports and returns coming from the supporting program activities during delivery are being submitted to program governance. And ultimately, in case there is any change in the program management plan or any one of the domain components, that is updated into the program management plan, naturally through a proper procedure of change request and change control. So any changes to program management plan will be updated to program governance. And that way, the program components are interacting not only with the core program activity, which is the program integration management, but also with the supporting program activities, which are all the 10 domains we talked about. Let's talk about the each one of these monitors and controls. First of all, we have the change monitoring and control. Program change monitoring and controlling are the activities whereby modifications to documents, deliverables, or baselines associated with the program are identified, documented, and approved or rejected. Probably this is the most important area when you are trying to update the program management plan, or for that matter, any of the domain plans. No change to any plan can be made without a proper change control mechanism. And that change control mechanism was established in your change management plan. Now you are doing the change monitoring and control. So all the documents, all the deliverables, all the baselines, all of those things will have to go through a proper change control mechanism. Proper change request if there is any change. So those changes have to be identified. They have to be properly written down, documented, approved or rejected. And if approved, only then they will affect the plan as an update. Program change monitoring and controlling is a critical aspect of overall program delivery monitoring and controlling. Naturally, this is impacting the integration change control. So any domain plan, if it is changed, it is going to update the program management plan. And it should include monitoring factors which are internal and external to the program that might create the need for changes to the program. So this is a very careful area where we have to have an eye on everything at an integration level. A program change request is a formal proposal to modify any program document, deliverable or baseline. Program change request should be recorded in the program change log. So the only thing which have changed from the project is now we are talking about the program change log at a program level, whereas in project management we used to still create a change log or a change register. But here, the level has been promoted to the program level, so program level changes are being noted here. Program change requests should be analyzed to determine their urgency and impact on program baseline elements and other program components. So as we used to do in project, whenever there is a change request identified, then we have to analyze and see its impact on all the relevant areas. Here our relevant areas are the various domains. So we will look at the impact this change is going to cause on all other domains and overall integration of the program. When there are multiple ways to implement the change, the cost, risk, and other aspects of each option should be assessed to enable selection of the approach most likely to deliver the program's intended benefits. If there are more than one ways of addressing that change, then naturally you would like, first of all, the most feasible, the best approach. And how do you decide that this is the most feasible approach? Which is fulfilling the program's intended benefits in the best possible way. So you just don't have to just pick any one of those multiple alternatives you are offered, but you have to carefully decide and analyze which approach is most suited to the program's benefits, which is the most beneficial for the program. Only that approach has to be selected, not at random. Once a decision on the program change request has been made by the program manager or program steering committee, naturally the decision is given by the steering committee. Program change control should ensure that the request is properly recorded in the program change log. Naturally, we do want all the change requests properly registered in the log, communicated to appropriate stakeholders. So whatever the decision is, it has to be communicated the stakeholder must have to be informed, appropriate stakeholder who are affected by that change according to the program communication management plan. So how are we going to communicate with the stakeholders? That is provided in the program communication management plan, reflected in updates to component plans as warranted. So once this change has been approved, the relevant updations to the relevant plans or the domain plans or the overall integration plan should be, all should be reflected there. Ultimately, the outputs of this activity would be approved change requests and any updates to the program change logs. Then we come over to the communication management area. In program communication management, we created a communication management plan, but here is the time when that communication plan comes into action. So program communication management actually happens during delivery. It comprises the activities necessary for the timely and appropriate generation, collection, distribution, storage, retrieval, and ultimate disposition of the program information. So anything about the program, any information about the program, how is it being generated, how it is collected, how it is distributed, where it is stored, who can retrieve it, and ultimately when an information is no more required, how is it going to be disposed of? This is all regarding the program information. Same definition is true for project management from the project perspective, but remaining within the bounds of the project. Here we are talking about the program information. So appropriate generation, collection, distribution, storage, retrieval, and ultimate disposition of the program information. This is what the communication management plan is all about. So communication, when it's happening, is going to go through these all of these steps. So this includes proper coordination, direction, and support of component communications to ensure alignment with the program's overall communication objectives. Overall communication objectives will naturally be, benefit oriented and satisfying the stakeholders. So that must be kept in mind, because we already have created a communication management plan. So that communication management plan should depict this particular action, ensure alignment with the program's overall communication objectives. Program information is distributed to the receiving parties, including the clients, program sponsors, program steering committee, component manager, and in some cases public or press. But you see, it does not mean that you distribute this information to anyone and everyone, not all the stakeholders. We have already said the relevant stakeholder. We should not overload any stakeholder with the information which they do not require. Not that we are being secretive and we are hiding any information from any stakeholder, but the main point is, do not overload any stakeholder with the information they do not require, because that will offend them otherwise. So there is no point in hiding anything, There is no secrecy at that level, except if it is some kind of a national issue or strategic issue and you need to hide some information. That is another issue. But from the program management point of view, no information is secret and everything has to be shared appropriately to the appropriate stakeholders. Naturally, I have made my point that every information should not be shared with everyone. It only should be shared with those who are relevant for that information. Okay, so the outputs coming out of the communication management process would be naturally the status information of the programs, projects, and subsidiary programs or other work, including progress, cost information, risk analysis, other information relevant to internal or external audiences or stakeholders. So, status information, all the 10 domains are happening, are delivering. And while they are delivering, they are impacting the program, project, or whatever the components of the program are, they are being impacted. So it is time to time report information, status information about everything, which may include time and cost and risk and everything else. So this status information is coming up due to communication management, proper communication management. If the communication plan is not good enough, then probably there will be a lot of information going in dark. It's not being communicated to the right places, right time, and therefore the communication gap would be there. Next is the notification of program change request. We already talked about the change request. So as soon as the program change request to the program and the component team, they have to be notified, and the corresponding response, whatever to the change request is, that also has to be notified. For program financial reports, for internal and external stakeholders or for the purpose of public disclosure, that is one of the outputs of the communication also. External filings with government and regulatory bodies as prescribed by laws and regulations. Any presentations before legislative bodies with the required pre-briefs. Public announcements communicating public outreach programs or information. This could be advertisements in the newspapers or things like that, TV commercials or whatever, press releases and media interviews and benefits updates, etc. This all comes under the program communication management. Program information distribution methods. How are we handling the information? How this information is being distributed? Again, a part of communication. Program information is distributed using variety of methods, naturally. Face-to-face meetings and presentations is a very, most appropriate way of communicating with the stakeholders, if possible. But if in case you are unable to communicate face-to-face, or it is not convenient to communicate face-to-face due to distances or multicultural environment, maybe you can utilize other methods like electronic communications and conferencing tools like email, fax, voicemail, telephone, video, web conferencing, and web publishing, etc. Electronic tools for program management. You may have a PMIs created, such as web interface to scheduling and project management software, which could be accessed from anywhere in the world. Meetings and virtual office support software, portals, or collaborative work management tools. Anything such like tools could also be very helpful. Social media could also be used. Internet-based group communication tools like interviews, conference presentation, marketing, publication articles, etc. Blogs, and even sometimes nowadays you can talk about the WhatsApp and all that we are using. This all could be used. But you see, these social media instruments or tools, some of them are are just for layer purposes, like WhatsApp and TikTok and all that. But you see, they have certain serious tools created for project and program management also. So if you are really interested for your teamwork, then probably you may be communicating through those media elements. Informal communications such as emails, small group conversations, staff meetings, etc. These are the primary methods for communicating day-to-day activity, but are not used to formally communicate the program status. Naturally, you can coordinate things in these informal communications, but the proper status report has to be in a formal through a formal communication mechanism. You have to ensure that this distribution method does not misinterpret the message. Regardless of the distribution method, the information should remain in the program's control. An incorrect message to an audience may cause problems for the program and in some cases lead to stoppage of a program. Program communication management can be challenging and time consuming and may require a full-time manager assigned to the task. As you remember from project management, we used to say that 90% of the project manager's time is spent in communication. In program management, what we are saying is that it is so extensive that you may have to hire a separate person for communication purposes in your program. Under the program management, in the program staff, program manager may like to have a program communications officer. So this is such a job, such an extensive job. Program reporting is a critical element of program communication as it supports both program governance and stakeholder engagement. Program reporting is the activity of consolidating performance and reporting related data to provide stakeholders with information about how resources are being used to deliver program benefits. So, reporting is something which is analyzed. The data has been analyzed and been converted into information. This is a proper summarized report, summarized thing going up for decision making. This is part of the decision support system. So these program reports have to be properly consolidated and they must not carry any error. Program reporting aggregates all information across projects, subsidiary programs and program activities to provide a clear picture of the program as a whole. So this is a summation, aggregation of everything going on, all the reports, all the data being generated from communication management, from all over the project or the program, including the project's components and everything. This has to be compiled into our report, and that report has to be sent up. This information is conveyed to the stakeholders by means of information distribution activity to provide them with needed status and deliverable information. You see, we already said only those stakeholders who need that information must be provided. Number one. Number two, the status must be kept updated about the stakeholders. The needs may change. The expectation management of the stakeholder. Today, a stakeholder might like to receive that report and tomorrow he may not. So you should know in your communication management plan what is the current status of the stakeholder about his needs. Additionally, this information is communicated to program team members also and its constituent components to provide them with general and background information about the program. Communication would be a two-way information flow. Any communication from customer or stakeholder regarding the program should be gathered by the program management, analyzed and distributed back within the program as required. Output of this activity would be reports required by program sponsors or program agreements, including formats and reporting frequencies, customer feedback requests, and periodic reports and presentations. Then comes the financial management, program financial management. As we have already got a financial management plan created in the earlier planning formulation phase, once the program receives initial funding and begins paying expenses, the financial effort moves into tracking, monitoring, and controlling, and the program funds are being expended. So now we have to keep track of the program funding, how much the funding has been received at what time, how much has been spent, what is going to be a new strategy for further funding, and if there is any change to the financial management plan, that has to be then made. Monitoring the program's finances and controlling expenditures within budget are critical aspect of ensuring the program meets the goals of the funding agency or of the higher organization. A program whose costs exceed the planned budget may no longer satisfy the business case used to justify it and may be subject to cancellation. So that is a very important point. If it is no more justified by the business case, then the whole of this effort must be abandoned. The program is no more valid. So we have to keep an eye that we are just not the monitors of funding, but we are also ensuring that this is really required. Cost should not exceed the planned budget. So we have to keep an eye on that. Even minor overruns are subject to audit and management oversight and should be justified. Typical activities in financial management here are identifying the factors that create the changes to the budget baseline, right? You see, we do not have a cost baseline here. We have in finances a budget baseline. Although we said that this budget baseline is just kind of approximate, but still we have to abide by it, and if at all anything changes in that baseline, we need to update it. Monitoring the environment factors for potential impacts, managing changes when they occur, monitoring cost reallocations, impacts and results. So when there is any change in costs, that must be depicted into financial management plan as if the funding can be arranged accordingly. So this has to be updated. Monitoring contract expenditures to ensure funds are disbursed in accordance with the contracts. Implementing earned value management. Identifying impacts of the program components from overruns or underruns. Communicating changes to the budget baseline to the governance group and to the auditors as both at both the program and component level. Managing expenditure on the program infrastructure to ensure costs are within expected parameters. So these are some of the typical activities of financial management. Talking about budget baseline, as part of this activity, payments are being made in accordance with the contracts, with the financial infrastructure of the program, and with the status of the contract deliverables. Individual component budgets are closed when work is completed on each component. If a project within the program has completed, that budget has to be closed for that. Throughout the program, as changes are approved that have significant cost impacts, the program budget baseline is updated. That is an important point. As we said, we will progressively elaborate. We learn more details as we plan. So if you feel that there is any change in the program budget baseline, that has to be properly updated as if it can be approved by the financial authorities, and ultimately it could be made part of your budget baseline. New financial forecasts for the program are prepared on a regular basis. So this financial team is continuously working, continuously extrapolating the data and communicated in accordance with the program communication management plan. Similarly, any approved changes either to the program or to an individual component are incorporated into the appropriate budget. So the budget people are keeping an eye on the changes and evaluating if there is going to be any change on the budget baseline and the financial management plan, and they will then keep updating the budget accordingly. All of these activities may result in updates to the program management plan. Outputs are the contract payments are being made. Any closed components budget should be properly closed. Program budget baseline must be updated. Approved change requests, revised estimate at completion, program management plan are updated, and any corrective actions are taken. Coming over to cost. This baseline is the program budget. This cost is contributing directly to the budget baseline. Since programs are by definition composed of multiple components, program budget should include the cost from each individual component as well as cost for the resources to manage the program itself. So everything aggregated together will give you the overall cost of the program, and that is going to affect your financial plan. The baseline program budget is the primary financial target that the program is measured against. Majority of the program cost is attributable to the individual component. Naturally, there are a number of projects running within the program. Main budget is being spent on those various components. But naturally, the work of program itself is also consuming some funds. So those are the program activities which should also be included in the cost. When contractors are involved, the detail of budget come from the contractor. Naturally, if you are contracting out something, you will ask for their bid. So contractor will tell us how much will it cost you. Cost of the program management and supporting program activities is added to the initial budget before a baseline budget can be prepared. This will be a mistake if you ignore the cost of program activities and only you sum up the cost of all the components. That would not be appropriate, because program management, program activities and supporting activities will also consume some cost. Two important parts of the budget are program payment schedules and component payment schedules. Program payment schedules identify the schedules and milestones where funding is received by the funding organization. Component payment schedule indicate how and when contractors are paid in accordance with the contract provisions. Once the baseline is determined, the program management plan is updated. Naturally, the output of this activity is updates to the program budget baseline, program payment schedules, and the component payment schedules. As far as the estimation of the cost is concerned, there is a lot of uncertainty, as we already have been talking about, that we have to be going through the progressive elaboration all the time, and we cannot have exact estimates created right in the beginning in the plan. Because programs have a significant element of uncertainty, not all program components may be known when the initial order of magnitude estimates are calculated during the program definition phase. In addition, given the typically long duration of a program, the initial estimates may need to be updated to reflect the current environment and cost considerations. It is generally accepted good practice to calculate and estimate as close to the beginning of a work effort as possible. Higher and lower cost estimates. This way, if the cost of the output is lower than originally planned, the program manager may present an opportunity to the program sponsor for additional products that would be acquired later in the program. So that is a benefit. If you have overestimated a bit, I'm not saying extravagantly, but if your estimate is somehow more than what is spent, then you are in a positive side. You have an opportunity to complete earlier or maybe do more job. Conversely, if cost is significantly higher, underestimation, a change request may be generated in the approval activity. The benefit of additional product can be weighed against the new cost to determine the proper action. So as soon as there is any such change, you have to redo your kind of a feasibility if it is still feasible, if it is still targeting the intended benefits. If so, then that would be favorable. Baseline cost becomes budget. Cost estimates for the individual components within the program are developed. Component costs are baseline and become the budget for that particular component. When a contractor is performing this component, this cost is written into the contract. So the output of this activity include the component cost estimates. Coming over to program information management. Previously we talked about the information within the communication. Now we are talking about the information system, MIS, the program information management. Information exchange. Effective program management involves the extensive exchange of information among program management, component management, portfolio management, program stakeholders, and program governance functions of an organization. Managing this information and making it available to support program communications, program management, or archiving is a significant and continuous task, especially in organizations pursuing numerous programs or programs that are complicated or complex. So just giving you an idea of complexity in an organization where portfolio, program, project, everything is being run under a program governance function also. So this is a very uphill task, managing this information exchange amongst this huge infrastructure. Using the information management tool. So here we need to use certain automated tools to maintain your information, which you may call the project management information system or something like that. So information management tools and processes established in the program information management plan. This activity collects, receives, organizes, and stores the documents and other information products created by program activities, program governance, and program component. So this is basically going to create an electronic archive of everything you do in your program. Attention should be paid to the accuracy and timeliness of the information to avoid errors and incorrect decisions. The program information repository can be an invaluable aid to the program, to other program activities, particularly when there is a need to refer to past decisions or prepare analysis based on trends reflected in historical program information. So you see, we do have a tool for the lessons learned, but while the program is running for for a number of years or whatever, from your ongoing program, you would be populating this information repository of the program only, thus learning a lot many lessons from within the program. I'm not talking about from the organizational archives. I'm talking about program's own lesson learned process. So this information repository will be keeping data of that. Outputs of this activity must be the program information repository and inputs to information distribution and program reporting. Lessons learned, as I just told you, are a compilation of knowledge gained. This knowledge may be acquired from executing similar or relevant programs in the past, or it may reside in public domain databases. So this was the lessons learned from the organizational perspective. Lessons learned are critical assets to be reviewed when updating the program stakeholder register, program risk register, and program communication management plan, or when considering major changes to the program management plan, including the introduction of new program components. So lessons learned will be very useful in deciding many things. Lessons learned database is updated when necessary. Naturally, whenever there is new input into the lessons learned, that will be automatically updated, and that data will be available for all the concerned programs and projects, including at the completion of a component or at the end of the program. Naturally, when something is concluded, the lessons learned are then populated into the archive. The outputs will be lessons learned report, any inputs to the program stakeholder register or risk register updates, inputs to the program communication management plan update. Naturally, due to these lessons learned, we may need to revise the communication management plan or update it, and overall the program management plan changes will be updated also. Then comes the procurement. The key objective here is program managers utilize multiple tools and techniques to conduct program procurement, but the key objective of conducting program level procurement is to set standard for the components. You see, if that was not the purpose, the components would be doing their own procurement independently, and they still are doing it. But such elements where we have to have a set of coordinated effort a similar procurement is going on for a number of projects within the program, then those could be brought under the umbrella of program level procurement. These standards may come in form of qualified seller lists, pre-negotiated contracts, blanket purchase agreements, and formalized proposal evaluation criteria. So these all may be used for that. Program manager utilizes multiple tools and techniques to conduct program procurement, but the key objective of conducting program level procurement is to set the standard, which we already said. One common structure used by the program manager is to direct all procurements to be centralized and conducted by a program level team rather than assigning that responsibility to individual components. So the choice is of the program manager. If he wants to centrally control all the procurements, good enough. But I would not recommend that. In some of the cases, it might be necessary for projects to deal with their own procurements if they are not affecting the program. So that would be the most sensible approach. Anything which is affecting the program or any external element out of a component, then program level procurement should kick in. The outputs would be, naturally, you are well aware about the request for quotations, request for proposals, invitation for bids, proposal evaluation criteria, agreement administration plan, signed agreement, and these are just a few examples. There could be many such procurement documents suiting your requirement according to your organization. As far as the contract administration is concerned, once the program standards are in place and the agreements have been signed, administration and closeout of many contracts are transitioned to the component. The details of contract deliverables, requirements, deadlines, cost and quality are handled at the component level. Individual managers at the component level report procurement results and closeouts to the program manager. I think this is self-explanatory. Whatever is happening as far as the procurement is concerned, that is being reported. Where contracts are administered at the program level, however, component managers coordinate or report deliverable acceptance, contract changes, and other contract issues within the program staff. Program manager maintains visibility in the procurement to ensure the program budget is being expended properly to obtain program benefit. Just look at it. Why program manager should maintain this visibility? It is not to micromanage, as I have been insisting from the beginning of the course. Program manager is not to micromanage. The sole purpose of program management to have visibility in procurement is to ensure the program budget is well expended, and that is obtaining the program benefit. These are the two objectives, the financial aspect of it and the benefit aspect of it. Program manager should no more look deeper into the situation, because that would be then the components problem. Components will have to deal with the internal details of the contract. The outputs of this activity would be performance earned value reports, ongoing progress reports, and vendor contract performance reports, etc. Then is quality assurance and control. Again, you are well versed with the terms quality assurance and quality control, so it would not be much difficult. We are just scaling it up to the program. So program quality assurance and control involves activities related to periodic evaluation of overall program quality to provide confidence that the program will comply with relevant quality policies and standards. Once the initial quality assurance specifications are decided upon in the program planning subphase, quality should be continuously monitored and analyzed. So right from that point, when it is defined, then you should be following it. Programs often conduct quality assurance audits to ensure proper updates are performed New government laws and regulations may create new quality standards. So in that case, you must update your quality management plan. Program management team is responsible for implementing all required quality changes. The lengthy duration of programs often requires quality assurance updates throughout the program's duration. Quality standards or quality needs or requirements may change over time. So you cannot just stick to one quality assurance plan which you created in the beginning. It has to be updated on and off, naturally through proper change control mechanism. Program quality assurance focuses on cross-program, inter-component quality relationships and how one component's quality specification impacts another component's quality when they are interdependent. So when is a case of interdependency, you have to be more careful because this is the issue of program quality assurance. As far as the quality assurance of a project is concerned, we are not discussing that. Inter-component quality relationship, that is our subject. Program quality assurance also includes analysis of the quality control results of program components to ensure overall program quality is delivered. That is important. So why are you having a look at the quality control as if the overall program quality is properly delivered? Outputs are quality assurance, audit findings, and quality assurance change requests. There are the quality requirements. Quality control involves the monitoring of specific components of program deliverables and results to determine if they meet the quality requirements and lead to benefit realization. That is important from the program point of view, that those quality requirements which have been specified, are they being met, and are they ultimately leading to the benefit realization that is intended. The quality control activity ensures that quality plans are being implemented to projects and subsidiary program level using quality reviews, usually performed with constituent component review. You see, I'm not absolving you from the responsibility of the project. The project quality naturally remains part of the program, but you are more focused on the inter-project or inter-component quality. But at the same time, the consolidation of the project quality is adding up to the program quality as well. Therefore, proper quality reviews has to be carried out. Quality control is performed throughout the duration of the program. Program results include product and service deliverables, management results and cost schedule and performance, as well as benefits realized by the end user. End user satisfaction is a powerful metric that should be obtained to gauge the program quality. If your end user is not satisfied, the sole purpose has been lost. Then we are very well aware of the term fitness for use. Of the benefits, product or service delivered by the program is best evaluated by those who receive it. Again, customer satisfaction is important. To that end, programs often use customer satisfaction surveys as a quality control measurement. Outputs for this activity may include quality change requests, quality control completed checklists and inspection reports, and quality test reports are measurement results. Then we have resources. Throughout the program delivery, the program manager will need to monitor, control, and adopt program resources to ensure benefit delivery. So this is a complete, jugglery going on throughout the program, orchestrating various program resources and adjusting them. Resource prioritization allows the program manager to prioritize the use of resources that are not available in abundance and to optimize their use across all components within the program. This often involves human resource planning to identify, document, and assign program roles and responsibilities to individuals or groups. During program delivery, the need for staff, facilities, equipment, other resources, they change. So if they change, your resource management plan should change, and naturally, many things will change accordingly maybe communication, maybe stakeholders, and ultimately the whole program management plan. These fluctuations are similar to economics of supply and demand. The program manager manages resources at the program level and works with the component managers who manage resources at the component level to balance the need of the program with the availability of resources. So this all has to be properly in balance. The components, the program, and everything should be in proper harmony. Resource prioritization decisions should be based on the guidelines in the program resource management plan, which we had created already, as decisions to change existing program components or to initiate new ones may have impact on program resources. The program resource management plan may need to be adopted as a result. Outputs are resource prioritization decisions and update to the resource management plan. Shared resources. Sources are often shared among different components within a program, and the program manager should work to ensure that the interdependencies do not cause delay in benefit delivery. This is achieved by carefully controlling the schedule for scarce resources. Program manager ensures resources are released for other programs when they are no longer necessary for the current program. Program manager may work with the component managers to ensure the program resource management plan accounts for changes in use of interdependent or scarce program resources. So, resource management plan should be updated accordingly. So, the output is the program resource management plan updates. We have risk. Throughout the program delivery, program risk management will monitor and control program risk throughout. How? By continuously identifying the program risks, analyzing them, and creating the program risk response plan and managing it. Risk monitoring is also conducted to determine whether program assumptions are still valid. So this is an important part, that risk monitoring we will see the are the assumptions initially set in while formulating this program, are they still valid? If not, then your risks will change. Assessed risk has changed from its prior state with analysis of trends. So reanalyze. Proper risk management policies and procedures are being followed. Ensure this, and cost or schedule contingency reserves are modified in line with the risks of the program. Effective program risk monitoring and controlling also requires coordination with component risk management functions. The program risk identification activity determines which risks could affect program, documents their characteristics, and prepares for their successful management. Participants in risk identification activities may include program managers, sponsor, team members, risk management team, subject matter experts. From outside of the program, we also may have the team, customer and user, component managers, managers of other program components, stakeholders, risk management experts, and external reviewers as required. So this is a list of all possible stakeholders inside and outside, internal and external. So once you are carrying out the risk identification activity, this is important to involve these stakeholders. Risk identification, naturally, we have been studying, is an iterative activity. As the program progresses, new risks may evolve or become known. The frequency of iteration and involvement of participants may vary, but the format of risk statement should be consistent. I hope you understand our risk statement format. Cause, risk, effect. So you should have a consistent format which you are following. This allows for the comparison of risk events in the program. The identification activity should provide sufficient information to allow the risk to be analyzed and prioritized. Output would be the program risk register. Risk analysis at the program level should integrate relevant program component risks. Managing the interdependencies among the component risks and the program provides significant benefits to program and its components. Qualitative and quantitative analysis, as we understand from our project management knowledge, qualitative and quantitative risk analysis techniques are both useful to support program management decisions. This step is the risk management activity, produces the best information supporting the contingency reserves and management reserve that should be set aside to deal with risks that actually occur. The assessments should include costs, schedules, and performance outcomes for the components as well as their interdependencies. The impact of the negative risk, which is threats, and positive risk, which are opportunities, on the delivery of benefits to the organization or external stakeholders should be considered at the program level. One essential difference between programs and components is the time scale. Component level risk should be dealt with within a relatively shorter time frame. By the end of the component, those risks are no more, while program risk may be applicable at a point in the potentially distant future. Program itself is large, huge, and therefore you may be identifying risks which may be applicable a number of years later. So this has to be updated. The analysis has to go on. The outputs of this activity would be proposed risk responses, updates to the program risk register, and periodic risk reports showing threats and opportunity trends. Then your response, risk response. To respond to risks, program manager identifies and directs actions to mitigate the negative consequences or to enable realization of potential benefits. Program manager may hold contingency reserves at the program level to support risk responses. Program contingency reserve is not a substitute for the component contingency reserve. The project contingency is separate, program contingency is separate, which is held at the component contingency is at the component level and program contingency is at the program level. Based on the program manager's direction, components of the program register may be updated, including specific actions to implement the chosen response strategy, budget and schedule activities required to implement the chosen responses, contingency plans and trigger conditions that call for their execution, fallback plans for use as a response to a risk that has occurred and the primary response proves to be inadequate. Residual risk, I hope you are aware of residual risk and secondary risk. Residual risk that are expected to remain after planned responses have been taken, as well as those that have been deliberately accepted. And secondary risks are that arise as a direct outcome of implementing the risk response. Output of this activity may include the direction to implement risk responses, program risk register updates, contingency reserves and management reserves, and the change requests. Second last component is scheduling, and then we'll talk about cost. Scheduling on time is our main concern. Program schedule, monitoring and controlling is the activity of ensuring the program produces the required capabilities and benefits on time. This activity includes tracking and monitoring the start and finish of all high-level components, not the detailed activities, and high-level components, that is the projects and subprograms, and the program activities and their milestones. Program manager is responsible for the program activities. So program activities must be properly tracked against the program master's schedule plan timelines. Updating the program master schedule and directing changes to individual component schedules is required to maintain an accurate and up-to-date program master schedule. Variances and corrective actions. Program schedule monitoring and controlling works closely with other program activities to identify variances to the schedule and directs corrective action when necessary. Successful program management is dependent on the alignment of program scope with cost and schedule. Naturally, we understand that all these three things, scope, time, and cost, they are going to be impacting each other. So they are interdependent. So if there is any change in schedule, there might be some impact on the cost or scope. Schedule control involves identifying not only slippages but also opportunities to accelerate program or component schedules and should be used for proper risk management. Program schedule risks should be tracked as part of the risk management activity. The program master schedule should also be reviewed to assess the impact of component level changes on other components and on the program itself. There may be a need to accelerate or decelerate components within the schedule to achieve program goals. Identification of both slippages and early deliveries are necessary as part of the overall program management function. Identification of early deliveries may provide opportunities for program acceleration. So, approval of deviations to component schedules may be necessary to realize program benefits as a result of component performance deviations. So, if there is any deviation, if there is any change, again, that should go through the proper change control mechanism. So, any deviations must be properly approved. Due to the complexity and potential long duration of programs, the program master schedule may need to be updated to include new components or remove components as a result of approved change request to meet evolving program goals. Program roadmap should be assessed for potential revision. Naturally, program roadmap will also change when there is significant change in the program master schedule. So program schedule monitoring and controlling activities include any updates to the program master schedule, to the roadmap, and ultimately identification of schedule related risks as output to the activity. So the outputs naturally are update to the master schedule, update to the program risk register, and update to the program roadmap. Last but not the least is the scope monitoring and control. It is important for the program manager to monitor and control scope as the program develops in order to ensure successful completion. Scope changes that have significant impact on the component or the program may originate from the stakeholders, components within the program, previously identified requirements, issues, or external sources. So as soon as you understand that there is supposed to be a need, there is a need to change, to bring a change in the scope, then that has to be evaluated. That must go through a proper change request. The request may be coming from the stakeholder or the customer or from internally, but these change requests have to be properly processed because scope is the area which is going to impact everything in the program. Program scope monitoring and controlling should be exercised in line with the program change management and the program scope management plans. This activity should capture requested scope changes, evaluate each requested change, determine the disposition of each requested change, communicate the decision to affected stakeholders, and record the change request and supporting details. You see how much is to be done when you are capturing the requested scope changes. You have to see the impact on all other areas, communicate them, and record the change request and supporting details. Major change requests, when approved, may require updates to the program management plan, and program scope statement may also change. Program manager is responsible for determining which components of the program are affected when a program scope change is requested and should update the program work breakdown structure accordingly. In very large programs, the number of components affected may be substantial and difficult to assess. Program managers should restrict their activities to managing scope only to the allocated level for components and should avoid controlling component scope that has been further decomposed by the project manager or by subsidiary program managers. The outputs of scope monitoring and control would be updated program scope statement. Naturally, program scope statement may change. Disposition of request with the documentation of the rationale of the decision. That is a big decision, so any change in scope must be properly justified here, and any updates to the program management plan will be revised. Program work breakdown structure, naturally as a part of scope, program work breakdown structure may also be impacted. Right, I must stop here to evaluate the program delivery phase activities. So I just want to ask if there are any questions regarding program delivery phase activities. Yes, Julian, any points?
No, no questions.
What I'm doing is, I know it might not be very clear at this stage because we cannot see all the component activities going on. The chart I have shown you at the end of 7th chapter, which was showing all the component program activities, I'll show that again to you, and then it will become, everything will become clear.
Okay.
Right. So let me start the program closure phase activities. The program closure phase activities begin when the program components have delivered all their outputs and the program has begun to deliver its intended benefits. In some cases, program governance may decide to bring a program to an early close before all components have been completed. So that is very much a possibility. A program can be closed earlier, as we have already studied also. In either case, the goal of the program activities during this phase is to release the program resources and support the transition of any remaining program outputs and assets, including its documents and databases, to ongoing organizational activity. So either the program has fulfilled its intended benefits or it is being brought to a close uh, based on some other decision. Both ways, program has to release the program resources and proper transition has to be carried out. So this is simpler because we only have 5 activities here. One related to the program financial management, that is program financial closure, program information archiving and transition. So relating to information, program information must be archived and transitioned. Program procurement must be closed. Program resource transition and program risk management transition. These are the only 5 activities, program activities in closure. They will interact with the program integration management, the core program activity. The guidance would be brought in from the program governance, and final program reports will be submitted back to program governance. And once that is done, the program management archives, assets and resources will be submitted to operational organization, operations of the organization, that will receive the lessons learned, or what you call it, organizational process assets, will be updated there. First one is the program financial closure. To enable program closeout, estimates may be required to determine the cost of sustaining benefits created by the program. While many of these costs are captured in operations, maintenance, or other activities initiated in the program delivery phase, as components are delivered, there may be residual activities required to oversee the ongoing benefits. This stewardship may be structured as an individual project or as a resulting program, or may be incorporated as new work under a separate portfolio or program, or in any new or existing operation. As the program nears completion, the program budget is closed. Program budget is closed, and the final financial reports are communicated in accordance with the program communication management plan. And any unspent money are returned to the funding organization. As far as the financial transactions are concerned, this is complete once sustainment budgets are developed, benefits are delivered, and sustainment has commenced. So sustainment is the subsequent activity. The program will finish and the sustainment will continue. When the sustainment budget has been ascertained and proper handing taking over, transition has completed, proper handing taking over has been completed, program has been closed. So that is the point where sustainment budget will come into play, and the benefit will be transferred, or in a way will be in the sustainment sustainment cycle. Output of this activity may include the inputs to the program final report, update to the program financial management plan, input into the knowledge repository, documentation of new tools and techniques used in the course of programs into the knowledge management system, financial closing statements, and closed program budget. Coming over to information archiving and transition is the name of the process. Program records how they are being maintained. For legal reasons or to support ensuing operations or other programs, there may be a need to collect program records and organize them for archiving or for use by other elements of the organization. Naturally, that is our primary purpose. The scope of this activity may include collection and archiving of records and documentation from components as well. So this is going to collect everything and submit it to the organizational process assets. Final lessons learned report, proper information management during program closure. It also includes the transfer of program knowledge to support the ongoing sustainment of program benefits. By providing the new supporting organization with documentation, training, and materials, the program manager may assess the program's performance, collect observations from program team members, and provide a final lessons learned report that incorporates the individual findings from continuous lesson learned captured throughout the program component activities. This report can inform the governance and management of other programs in the organization and to help them avoid pitfalls encountered during program delivery. So this is the compilation of our final lessons learned report which is being submitted. The output is the input to organizational archives, lessons learned report to organizational governance bodies. Procurements, naturally, formally close agreements. That is our main objective as far as the procurement is concerned. No procurements should remain open after the program has been closed. All program related procurements and even the component related procurements must have completed. Program procurement closure activities are those that formally close out each agreement of the program after ensuring that all deliverables have been satisfactorily completed, that all payments have been made, and that there is no outstanding contractual issues. In the case of a program that is closed early, program procurement closure manages the termination of active contracts to avoid unnecessary cost. Output of this activity would be contract closeout report, update to the lessons learned, and any closed contracts. Resources must also be transitioned. So it is important to ensure that program resources are appropriately released as the program is being closed. This may involve the reallocation or reassignment of team members and funding to other initiatives or programs. Reassignment of resources at the component level could include transitioning resources to another component already in execution or another program within the organization that requires a similar skill set. Efficient and appropriate release of program resources is an essential activity of program closure. At the program level, program governance releases resources as part of activities leading to program closure approval. Output of this activity include the resources released to the organizational elements. Then is the risk management transition, the last closure activity. Although the program is closed, there may be remaining risks that could undermine the realization of benefits by the organization. Program risk management activities should transfer these risks along with any supporting analysis and response information to the appropriate organizational risk register. You see, when this program is being closed, the sustainment budget has been issued, then someone else is going to be responsible for these benefits in future. Therefore, all these, the risk register should also be transferred as if they can maintain it. This may be managed by a different organizational group than the one intended to realize the benefits, such as an organizational PMO. Maybe this is an organizational PMO who takes over the risks or the charge of sustainment. we don't know right now. Sometimes in some organizations it could be the PMO, in some organizations it could be another department or an external body. The output of this activity should include the organizational risk registers. So this brings us to the end of the whole thing. All the processes we have discussed. So the summary of this whole story is in front of you. We do have an organizational governance under which your program governance is working. Program governance is providing you guidelines for everything. We have got three phases here. We have got program definition, program delivery, and program closure. And in program definition, we studied two sub phases, program formulation and program planning. In program delivery, we had the component authorization and planning, component oversight and integration, and component transition and closure. All of these things are happening in the program delivery, while in program closure, we have studied 5 activities. As far as the outputs and outcomes are concerned, coming out of the program delivery, they go through the benefit consolidation and sustainment cycle. And as and when the benefits are delivered, they are being released. Looking at it from another angle, again, one of the diagrams we have already seen. This is where our 3 phases are shown in the bottom: program definition, program benefit delivery, and program closure. And you can see that sub-program and projects and other work is happening here. The white blocks are showing various components. So these components are happening here, and while we are in the program benefit delivery phase, these components will start yielding the benefits. And then the benefits being realized, the program benefit delivery is continued. This is where the discrete benefits are delivered. The final part, the last part of the program benefit delivery is where the discrete benefits are being delivered, and ultimately they are being consolidated and handed over to the sustained benefits. Sustainment organization is the one who takes on the responsibility of the benefits of the program after program has been closed. So as far as consolidated program benefit is concerned, this is the responsibility of the program, and the sustainment benefits are the responsibility of the sustainment organization. Another way of looking at it, the 3 phases of the life cycle: program definition delivery, and program closure. And within the definition, we have formulation and preparation or planning. Within the program benefit delivery, we have the planning and authorization of the components. This is related to the component planning and authorization, component oversight and integration, component transition and closure, and ultimately in closure we have the transition and the closeout. First, the program activities are transitioned, and then finally we sign them off and program is closed. So the main areas in program lifecycle management was program governance, program strategy alignment, program benefit management, and program stakeholder engagement, which we studied in the first 5 chapters. Okay, this shows us the benefit management, program benefit management, which we studied as a program figure 4.1. Only talking about the program benefit management, the benefits are being identified and analyzed and planned while we are doing the program definition, while we are in the first phase, program definition phase. The benefits are being identified and to some extent analyzed there. In program delivery, you continue analyzing and planning, then you start delivering the benefits, and even start transitioning the benefits while you are in the program delivery phase. The benefit transition and sustainment is part of program closure, which ends with the sustainment benefits. Okay, these are all the groups of program supporting program activities which we have seen. In formulation phase, we had all the assessments being carried out. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 types of assessments were carried out in program formulation. When we were in the planning phase, this is a sub phase, planning phase, we had the relevant management plans created, change, communication, and all that. These plans were created there. So they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 plans were created. They're not actually 12 plans. They are 10 plans, one program cost estimation, and this is financial framework establishment. So 10 plans and two of these things, program cost estimates and the financial framework. This have been established in planning. So 10 program activities, supporting program activities are there in the formulation. 12 program activities are there in the planning, and this is all definition. 22 activities are in the definition phase. When we are in execution, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, all the 10 areas, they are being managed and controlled in program delivery phase. And while we are in the program closure phase, we have 5 activities: financial closure, information archiving and transition, procurement closure, resource transition, and risk management transition. So you see we have got 22, 10, and 5. We have total of 37 program activities. I don't mean that you should remember all of them, but just giving you a summary of how they interact. What are those activities, program activities, and how do they interact? So just in front of you, you will find that the what is to be done with these activities is also drawn here in shape of program governance, core program activities, and all that. So these 4 charts will give you a fair picture of the whole program activities we have studied. So Julian, I am done. So anything you want to ask or discuss?
Yeah, for risk transfer.
Risk transition. Risk transition. Is it what you want? This one. Program risk.
You said that risk MO. Mm-hmm.
We transfer.
Yeah. What are some of the common issues you would face when you're handing over risk? Is that's something that usually a client doesn't want to really take on?
Okay. Thus, you are talking about a sustaining organization, the organization taking over the benefits of the program. They may have their own tolerance and their own act, what do you call it, risk appetite.
Appetite.
So they may have their own risk appetite. They may like to take on that risk, and they may not like to take on that risk. But it is my responsibility as a program manager to hand over the risk register to them. Right? From my perspective, I created the risk register from the program perspective. Whatever risks I have identified, whatever the risk registers are, and what is my future projection, what are risks are likely to happen, I will develop them and hand them over to the sustaining organization. This is the responsibility of sustaining organization to further refine them according to their own risk appetite and tolerance. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
I will suggest that you should study the whole of the material on in your own time, and then we meet at a time of your convenience. I am going to be busy from next week onwards. Maybe after a month or two, you and Farayal can decide, and we can fix a date. We can sit down and ask, discuss all your questions. We can have one or two or three. I don't know how many sessions you want, but we can have those sessions and discuss all of this. So
Okay.
be in touch
I
with
like that.
be in touch with Farayal, and let me know when you are ready. So for now, from my side, this course is over. Now the supplementary sessions you can always ask for.
That's good. Thank you so much for everything. I'll go over everything, read a book, and I'll have a lot more questions.
Sure, sure. So I will be ready for your questions, and we will add them to this archive. So thank you very
Sure.
much, Julian. It was a good company.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.